Hello Bama friends! A big surprise for Bama? A new recruit is coming to visit Bama and he is committed to Auburn. Will Bama turn this around in their favor? We will analyze, but first sign up and continue receiving more news from Tide. Anquan Fagans, one of the most promising recruits in the 2024 class, is about to make another splash in the college football scene. While Fagan's verbal commitment to Auburn was one of the highlights of the recent recruiting cycle, the news that he has scheduled an official visit to Alabama for late October is certainly something that has shaken up the expectations of the Crimson Tide and its fans. Scheduled for the weekend that Alabama will face Missouri, this visit marks a new chapter in the budding relationship between Fagans and Kalen DeBoer's program. Fagans, a four-star defensive back from Thompson High School, is the kind of talent that any program would love to have. He possesses the physical and technical attributes that place him among the top prospects in the country at the safety position. His commitment to Auburn certainly sent shockwaves through the recruiting community, but the fact that he still maintains close contact with the Alabama coaching staff makes it clear that this battle is far from over. And it's no surprise that the Crimson Tide continue to try to bring him to Tuscaloosa. The Thompson senior has stated that his relationship with Alabama is still in the development phase, but it's growing steadily. The connection with head coach Kalen DeBoer, along with his ongoing work with Colin Hitchler and Freddie Roach, seems to be building with each conversation. For Fagans, it's all about building trust and feeling part of a bigger project, something Alabama knows how to provide with its history of success and player development structure. What makes this official visit particularly interesting is the timing. Alabama will be in the midst of a pivotal season, where the matchup against Missouri could have implications not only on the field, but off it as well, with prospects like Fagans closely observing the environment and culture that Kalen DeBoer has created since his arrival. Fagans' presence in the stands will certainly be watched by everyone, especially considering the weight of his future decision. Technically, Fagans is a player who excels on multiple fronts. His ability to read the game naturally is impressive, something that is rarely seen in players so young. The ball seems to have a pull for him, whether in passing plays or in pressure situations, where he often positions himself to intercept or force mistakes from opponents. This combination of instinct and technique makes him a complete safety, capable of playing both in coverage and physically against the ground game. What is also striking is Fagan's versatility. He can comfortably play safety up top, but he also has a commanding presence when placed in man-to-man, demonstrating a quick read and precision in jumping routes. These traits make him a fearsome defender, capable of changing the course of a game in a single play. He is exactly the type of talent that Alabama has sought in recent years to keep its defense at the highest level, and with Kane Wommack's defensive philosophy being implemented, Fagans would be a valuable asset. From a strategic standpoint, Fagans' visit to Alabama could be decisive. The work that DeBoer and his staff have done in reshaping the Crimson Tide program after the Saban era is directly tied to their ability to attract elite talent like Fagans. And the truth is, while Auburn took a step forward in earning his verbal commitment, Alabama's tradition and player development potential remain crucial factors. The official visit will be an opportunity for the Crimson Tide to showcase all that it has to offer, both in terms of a game environment and preparation for the next level, something that Fagans is certainly considering. Game on! For Tyler Booker and the Alabama Crimson Tide, the matchup against Georgia represents yet another opportunity to show their strength in the trenches, ignoring all the outside attention. Despite Alabama being positioned as the underdog at home for the first time since 2007, the team's focus remains unwavering, and Booker is keen to reinforce that. In an era where rankings and outside analysis tend to weigh on teams' emotions, Booker shows maturity and a sense of clear mission by setting aside the speculation and odds of victory surrounding the matchup against the Bulldogs. For many, the presence of the nation's #1 team, Georgia, in Tuscaloosa could be a source of additional pressure. Especially with the media attention, the presence of ESPN's College Game Day program and even the confirmation of former President Donald Trump's attendance at the stadium. However, Booker and his teammates demonstrate a mentality focused on the essential, the work on the field. When asked about Alabama being an underdog against Georgia, Booker made it clear that, for him and his teammates, such outside analysis is irrelevant. He even dismisses the opinions of oddsmakers, suggesting that many of them have probably never played football in the SEC, and therefore their predictions have no bearing on what happens in the Crimson Tide's locker room or practice. This mentality, of focusing on what is within your reach and controlling only what you can control, is typical of elite programs like Alabama. And it's clear that Booker has become one of the most vocal voices in that leadership within the team. In a conference where every detail can make the difference between victory and defeat, a process-focused mentality is something that can be decisive, especially in a game that promises to be as physical as expected against Georgia. Another player who shares this mentality is running back Jam Miller. Like Booker, Miller understands the magnitude of the matchup, but prefers to focus on how he can contribute to the team on the field. When asked about the excitement surrounding the Georgia game, Miller let out a smile, perhaps reflecting the electric atmosphere that is sure to surround Bryant-Denny Stadium on Saturday night. However, like Booker, he quickly got back on track, emphasizing that his goal is to continually improve his game and help the team achieve victory. That pragmatic, focused approach is key for a program like Alabama, especially when it finds itself in an unusual position as an underdog. Under Kalen DeBoer, the Crimson Tide has been in a period of transition, but the mentality of hard work and focus remains unchanged. That's evident in the way the players are preparing for the matchup against Georgia, a dominant team in recent years that ranks atop the national rankings. By ignoring external factors like the presence of public figures and media attention, Alabama's players are demonstrating the resilience and focus that define successful programs. The SEC is a conference where the level of competition is immense, and any distraction can be fatal. Knowing how to isolate these distractions and focus on what's happening between the lines could be the difference the Crimson Tide needs to emerge victorious in this matchup. For Alabama fans, seeing this mentality in their players is comforting. The anticipation for the game against Georgia is huge, but as Booker and Miller have made clear, the focus is on the process. This quiet confidence, without fanfare or distractions, is what could make Alabama a strong candidate to surprise on Saturday, even though they are considered the underdog. In the end, I want to hear your opinion, so subscribe to the channel too. Ryan Williams, Alabama's young prodigy, is one of the biggest sensations in college football. At 17, he has already established himself as one of the Crimson Tide's top wide receivers, but what really impresses is his maturity and performance on the field, which coach Kalen DeBoer is quick to praise. Williams may be a freshman, but what he brings to the team is beyond his years. His emotional control and ability to absorb the game like few others stand out, especially when you consider the amount of young talent that passes through the hands of experienced coaches like DeBoer. In the first 3 games of his college career, Williams has already shown that he can be a difference maker for the Crimson Tide. The way he connects with quarterback Jalen Milroe is one of the most impressive aspects of his performance, something you don't often see from such a young freshman. The partnership between Milroe and Williams has already resulted in 4 touchdowns, and it's clear that this connection grows stronger with each game. However, Williams' success is no accident. Ever since his days at Saraland High School, he has stood out as an athlete with exceptional skills. Jeff Kelly, his former high school coach, always saw something special in Williams, even from his early days as a quarterback. But it was when Kelly moved him to wide receiver that Williams' true potential began to shine. And that brilliance did not go unnoticed by anyone. Williams had one of the best seasons in Alabama high school football history, amassing 2,661 yards and 39 touchdowns in his sophomore season, a feat that earned him the Alabama Mr. Football Award. This unique ability to transform plays and always be in the right place at the right time has made him one of the most sought-after names in college football. His ability to explode into plays and read the field with instinctive intelligence is something rare, which is why Kelly has always spoken so highly of him. When Williams made the transition to college football, many expected him to have an adjustment period, especially given his age. But that wasn't necessary. From the first moment he stepped into the pads, he showed he was ready. When he came up against veteran linebacker Justin Jefferson on a cross, he felt the impact of the difference in level, but he quickly adjusted. And that adjustment is what has made the difference. Alabama offensive coordinator Nick Sheridan decided to ease him in gradually, but Williams quickly showed he could play multiple positions, mastering the route tree and understanding the game at a level few freshmen achieve. Williams' maturity is something that has impressed not only the coaching staff, but his teammates as well. He doesn't let the attention or the spotlight that inevitably surrounds him get the better of him. His focus is on the field, the game, and continuous improvement. He has absorbed every piece of advice and learning opportunity, and it sets him apart from the rest. Alabama wide receivers coach Jamarcus Shepard likens Williams' ability to handle pressure to someone drinking from a fire hose, except in Williams' case, the hose seems much smaller, given his ability to understand and react to situations with ease. That calm, confident demeanor has already led the team in receptions and receiving yards in the first few games of the season. For a rookie, especially a 17-year-old, that's an impressive feat, and it's no surprise that Georgia coach Kirby Smart has taken notice of Williams' talent, singling out his skill and personality ahead of Alabama's highly anticipated matchup with Georgia. His maturity, instincts, and technical ability put him in a different league, and even with the pressure of big games and inevitable adversity, Williams seems ready for every challenge that awaits him. Let's keep going, man. For the first time since 2007, the Alabama Crimson Tide find themselves in an unusual position, the underdog inside Bryant-Denny Stadium, a territory the team has historically dominated. Saturday's matchup against Georgia has brought a wave of skepticism about the Crimson Tide, with the Bulldogs being considered the favorite by many critics. But for Alabama's players and coaching staff, that situation is seen as more of a source of motivation than a hindrance. Kalen DeBoer, in his preparation for the game, mentioned that the team is using this outside distrust to fuel what he calls a Lank mentality, a philosophy that dates back to the 2023 season, when Jalen Milroe and Terrion Arnold coined the term. The acronym Lank stands for Let All Naysayers Know, and that mentality seems to have permeated the entire team, especially as they approach this big matchup against the nation's current number 1 seed. Deontay Lawson, linebacker and team captain, clearly expressed how this underdog status is impacting the team. "It definitely fuels us a little bit more," Lawson said, reflecting on the influence of the Lank mentality. For him and his teammates, being seen as underdogs at home is just another fuel to show the world what the Crimson Tide is still capable of. That same confidence is also present in Jalen Milroe, who doesn't see Georgia's favoritism as a concern, but rather as an opportunity to prepare even better. Milroe emphasized the importance of never relaxing after a win and maintaining a mindset of always having something to prove. "Prepare like you've never won before," the quarterback said, reflecting on the need for total focus on preparation and execution on the field. For Milroe, hating to lose is what motivates the team more than anything else. On the defensive side, defensive lineman Tim Keenan has taken a similar approach, ignoring outside speculation and focusing on what really matters: performance on the field. "That's just rat poison," Keenan said, referring to the skeptics' talk about Alabama being an underdog. He acknowledges that while the team listens to what's being said, the real preparation and mindset comes from within. Keenan, like the team's other leaders, is determined not to be swayed by predictions, focusing instead on what Alabama needs to do to succeed. Tyler Booker, meanwhile, shares the same view. He sees the oddsmakers and critics as irrelevant, since many of them probably haven't played football before. Booker reiterates that the team's focus is solely on what can be controlled, the hard work that goes on in the Crimson Tide building and in the trenches during the game. This hands-on, focused approach is characteristic of a team that, even in times of adversity, maintains unwavering confidence in its abilities and preparation. This game against Georgia represents a big test for Alabama, not only because they are facing the number 1 team in the country, but also because it marks the beginning of the SEC season, where every game is a battle. The Bulldogs are undefeated and will have the advantage of a bye week to prepare, but Alabama, with its tradition of excellence and its can-do mentality, is more than ready for the challenge. For the Crimson Tide, this is a time to show the world that their competitive spirit and hunger to win are as strong as ever. Will Bama pass this test? Now I want to hear your thoughts on the game.